So, good evening. I'm TI83, or Owens here, whatever. I have two names. But, this is a rant against, bigger game companies like AAA Gaming creating terrible games just because of they can update the game. It's dumb. Updates should be used for good, not because, we'll have them pre-order the game, and then give them a terrible game at launch, causing our game to be terrible, and then overall losing their audience and their faith in the company. And the game will always have a bad reputation. It's a bad idea to do stuff like that. So stuff like Redfall, which had terrible AI, and I doubt will ever be fixed. It's just probably going to remain a terrible game because I'm not sure. I didn't buy it, but I'm pretty sure it had. I don't know if it had performance issues like a lot of AAA games nowadays. They just don't run. For example, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I heard just did not run, like, at all. I don't know. Again, this is like the newest game I bought. Pizza Tower is like the newest game I bought, and I have yet. It's still this. Okay, this is a big factor. Indie games. They can release a game that runs at launch. Why does any other game company not? It's not that hard. Do they even test their game? Do they have it, or do they run it on the best hardware possible or something? It's dumb to me. You can run this. Well, granted, this is a 2D platformer, and which means it takes up little to no RAM on your computer or power, since there's not much being rendered. But a big factor of the terrible games that are releasing is development hell, which hasn't happened a lot lately, but it kind of fits in the topic of bad games releasing at launch. So a game like Cyberpunk 2077, was bad at launch, and still people are kind of mad that it was that bad at launch. I'm pretty sure, it did not run. That was one of the things that had happened. It just refused to run. And that is not good when a game just doesn't run. Again, you don't need to hit the deadline. A game should run at launch either way. Doesn't matter if, it doesn't matter, if a game is intended to look great, fine, fair enough. But, stuff like The Last of Us remake, or not, whatever, The Last of Us Part 1 on PC. Terrible. It did not run. Lots of graphical issues. It just did not end up in a very good game. It's why people hated it. While some games have a renaissance, such as Cyberpunk 2077, which now runs on something that isn't the best computer you can buy, which I'll say, a lot of people can't do that. And people who can are rich, or they just have enough money to spend on that. I don't know how people manage to even afford computers, especially with the whole graphics card inflation, manual inflation by NVIDIA, which NVIDIA, you can kill yourselves. I am using a NVIDIA graphics card, but to be fair, this is a laptop, so I probably would use a NVIDIA graphics card anyway. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Kill yourself. You've always been the most annoying enemy. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. There have been a lot of other games. I'll look back. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but also Day 1 DLC. Shut up. No, stop with no one needs Day 1 DLC ever. There's no point for it. no reason at all for day one DLC to exist. It's completely useless. Like, no one needs that. No one, like, it just doesn't, like, why would you do that? And there are some games that do it right, but this is also going to be talking about the Resident Evil 4 remake a little bit, which did run at launch and was a very good game. Oh my gosh, this is a secret. But that was a very good game. I haven't played it yet. I played a bit of the demo, and I'm working on Resident Evil 2 remake. But, that ran at launch. Why is there a bug on my screen? But, why? Go away, fly. Stop crawling on my screen. Let me play Pizza Tower without... Why are you even here? Whatever. But, Resident Evil 4 had paid DLC at launch. Granted, but it was all, like, cosmetic stuff, which... Fine, fair. That's, I guess, fine enough. People will pay for it if they want. I don't usually buy a bunch, like, stuff like that, which is just cosmetic. Like, I buy a phone case that has a cool design because it's helpful, and, I mean, I like how it looks, but Resident Evil 4 remake, good game, ran at launch, wasn't dog crap, and yet, like, it's clear it can be done. There's a lot of games recently that have done it right. Like, there was Hi-Fi Rush, which, granted, did not need much to run, but was a very good-looking game. And it was also a good game. Whatever. But it was also a good game, I'll say. It was not a bad game, like a lot of, you know, games like Redfall. This is primarily against Redfall and its terribleness. But, yeah. There's also, it's funny that, like, the best games so far in 2023 is Metroid Prime Remastered, Resident Evil 4, and, like, another game. I don't remember what the third one was. I was stealing from this a meme on Reddit. I don't care. Kill yourself. Okay, that came out of nowhere. Sorry. But I'll probably whatever. But so sorry, I'm focusing. I didn't get the item, but there's a lot that could have changed. So, indie games. These games work at launch. It's like the game AAA game developers don't even playtest their game, and they just say, "Oh, this game, it's a game. It works on several $1,000 hardware," and for some reason they still they think that it'll run on everything. Like, I have a fairly mid-tier laptop with interesting RAM, but I'll get to that in a bit. But it's not great, which means games like Jedi Survivor will just not work on my computer because it's just not designed. It's made for people who have enough money to buy a computer for gaming, but not enough not enough to spend like a year's wage on. That's what I mean. It's just dumb that you need to spend like $15,000 just to play a game that should have already ran. Like, there's no reason that it couldn't have ran. I get, like, it's probably a really good-looking game, but... And then there's Nintendo. And consoles. Sorry, this is completely unscripted, but I don't know if I already said that, and I'm just forgetting. But, Nintendo and their other games Nintendo makes sure they're making good games. For example, Tears of the Kingdom released. Great game. I got it. It's fun. I barely played it, but because I've been playing this because I got it like a couple days before I got Tears of the Kingdom. But that game was fun, was good, and there's a couple places in Nintendo history that they made a bad game. There was, yeah, whatever. But there's also, I can't think of any on the top of my head. I guess a bunch of the 3DS games and Wii U games weren't as well liked, but they're all still good games. I mean, like, I would still play Super Mario 3D World. While it's one of the less liked ones, even though it's more liked than 3D Land. So, 3D Land is the one, yeah. I still play it, because it's still a good game. It's like, the worst iPhone ever made was the 5S, but I'm stealing this from ThankPods, because yes, apparently that's the worst iPhone ever made, which, fine. But, like, it's not saying much. Or it's saying a lot, but it's also saying nothing at the same time, because it's the worst, but it's not bad. So that's the thing. Like, there are bad phones. Those phones are not one of them. Like, something that has an overall good, but is not necessarily, like, you know, the best. Like, 3D Land is a good game, but it's the worst Mario game. It's the worst 3D Mario game. Well, in my opinion, it's Sunshine, which will definitely get some people riled up. I don't know. I can't have fun with that game. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a weird control scheme, but whatever. I'm getting off topic. But a lot of those Nintendo's games, they work to make sure their games are good. A lot of games released that are just not good, and that's my gripe. Release good games. You don't need to hit that deadline. Just release a good game. We don't care if a game delays a lot. Breath of the Wild got delayed for a very long time. It was announced early in the Wii U, I'm pretty sure. And people still... And it was delayed a lot. However, it did turn out with a great game. It was not a bad game. It was a great game. It was one of the best Zelda games or games ever made. The only game that's beaten it, I'm pretty sure, is Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. But those are great games already. All Nintendo games have been good games. One of the best games of all time is Super Mario 64. That is a 20-year-old game. Why am I talking about this? These games ran at launch. You could play them because there wasn't updates. But ever since online updating released, they could just say, whatever, release a game that people paid for. Assuming someone pre-ordered for it, which if you did, don't pre-order games unless like there's a reason to. But like I would understand people pre-ordering Tears of the Kingdom because there's a fairly high chance that is not going to be available at launch, which somehow we got a copy from GameStop somehow. We did not pre-order it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and that's the thing is what Nintendo does. They make good games. But like these companies they just think about the money, the immediate money, but not the money they'll get later on. Like, people still buy the game, which is the thing. Like, just don't buy the games. Don't encourage them doing stuff like this. Well, granted, if you're getting enough, like, Redfall from Game Pass, fair enough, but I mean, it's free in quotation marks, but like, it's kind of just dumb. I don't know. A lot of these games did not have updates. It was really hard to update these games because you couldn't. You could not update these. There was no way to update them without completely revamping a generation, or like completely creating new cartridges, which has happened a couple times, but typically it doesn't happen. Even games that did have updates, like, for example, the PS3 and the Xbox 360. A lot of those games, they were still good games. You could still play them. You did not need to spend like 50 grand, or I don't know why you did not need to spend 50 grand on a computer to play them. You did not need to. You could still play the games, because back then there was not these companies did not think to just like release their game. They realized that they need a game to work at launch, and you did not need to update it over a period of 5 years for it to work. For it to work on most systems. And like games like Pizza Tower is what I'm playing right now just work because they were made to work. They were designed. A game doesn't work if it's not a game. Like, if it doesn't play, I just don't consider it a good game. You need to be able to play a game for it to work. I know I've said this several times, that I'm doing this completely unscripted. I've said that before. Sorry, I just wanted to get this out. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.